All right. It's now 7 o'clock and July 6th. And it's our monthly planning board meeting, and at this time, I'd like to explain the emergency exits are out the door, those are one is down the stairs. There's one out the door and all the way to the other end of the stairs, or of the hallway. And, there's an AED across the hall if needed. This time it is for all cell phones be turned off, so there's no interruptions to people who might be doing a presentation or having a discussion. Somebody can get after that. Somebody's putting a presentation on, please speak up and come up with a podium. Okay, so we get a clear reference for the 4 minutes. Tonight we have a public hearing for Sarah Ritchie at 8 Plain Drive. Can you read to us with the publication? Yeah, you do. We're missing a couple.
Steve Law.
Yeah.
Dave Martin.
Here.
Rich Slider.
Yeah.
Ed Nelson.
Here.
Steve Bittner. With James Nesbitt and Sharon Spider Law.
Anybody had any additions or corrections to last month's meeting? So please. Second. Okay. So moved and seconded.
Steve Law.
Yes.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Rich Slider.
Yes.
Ed Nelson.
Yeah.
Steve Bittner. Public hearing for special use permit for Sarah Ritchie of 8 Plain Drive. Application of Sarah Ritchie, owner Sarah Ritchie, seeking special use permit for dog breeding. We have 4 dogs, where only 3 dogs are allowed. This is in the residential medium density zoning district. That's account number 021.02-2-19. All interested parties will be given the opportunity to be heard at this time.
Okay, very good. Sir, you wanna realize you don't have your partner with you tonight?
I
All the
don't
way
know
around. All right, Glenn, do a explanation of where we're going and
Yeah.
what happened.
Yeah, we just have 4 dogs. We have 2 hunting dogs and 2 Australian shepherds that we bred once. We wanted to breed her another time or 2 max.
Okay, this time I'll open up the floor for public comment. And we'll probably have some discussion. Who's here for the public hearing? Everybody here? Okay, Mr. Peters? You can sit down if you'd like. Eric Peters filled out a public forum template, yes. For board.
Almost forgot it.
Okay, speak up. Like you're-
Almost forgot, I'm a little out of practice with that.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, my name's Eric Peters, 1397 Brook Edge Drive. We got the notice in the mail of the intention for a breeding permit. I'm just here to express my concerns. I'm not here to make any enemies. As a resident of the neighborhood, a lot of dogs in our neighborhood. It's tough. I don't know that the neighborhood is appropriate for a breeding operation. These are small lots, certainly. the 3-dog maximum has been in place for since Christ was corporal in county and other iterations of the permits to allow more than that don't have come and gone since then, but the 3-dog maximum has been in place for many, many years. I think at this point, because of the location of the Ritchie house, it's a landlocked house and there's houses on either side and there's other people in the neighborhood that come to me and express their concern about having this happen. It also establishes a precedent to going forward that if you issue this permit now, what about this person over here, that person over there that wants to do the same thing in your neighborhood? You've established that it is okay. There comes a point, and again, I'm not trying to make any enemies here, but there comes a point where personal responsibility has to count for something. And if 3 dogs was it, then 3 dogs was it. Nobody in the neighborhood has to put extra dogs. I'm not going to talk about any other issues at this point, but I do have other neighbors that have confided to me that they are concerned about having that situation exist.
Okay, thank you. Duly noted for minutes. Is there anybody else? There's anything to say about it? Please stand up, state your name.
Jonathan Vogler, 1387 Brook Edge. So my house is located on the end of the plain. My only concerns is, yeah, I would agree there. Small lots, you know, there are already enough dogs in the area that we hear a lot. I mean, we are close to each other. My only concern is, you know, the whole project overall, you know, how, if you are gonna approve this, how are we keeping these, puppies in the house? Are we just staying in the house, or in the yard, is it fenced? How long will these, puppies be there? Yeah, I mean, I know, Sarah mentioned you want to do 1 or 2 more times. All right, can we put a timeline on that, where that's over, it's ended, if approved? I mean, I think I'm really against it, but if it was approved, I would like to see some, you know, restrictions like that. You gotta have a fence, you know, that way it's not just dogs running loose. You know, there's gonna be extra, you know, dogs are gonna, you know, do their business in the backyard. There's more waste, you know. How's this being handled? You know, is someone gonna be on top of this more often? These are just the concerns I have. I mean, is this, are we certified or purebreds? You know, put on the list here, as they say. These are my concerns that, you know, or is this just so we can have 4 dogs and make it? But those are my concerns, you know, some of the things that popped in my head. But mostly, yeah, it's a small neighborhood, it's tight, sound travels very well. So, say that.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Is there anybody else from the public who wishes to say anything? Since the notification has gone out, we've received some hearsay comments. Not that they're not of substantial nature. But there's been really no complaints other than concerns that have been raised tonight. The original application, was April 8th, 2026. This is bounced back and forth. I'm going to give you some history. Okay. The application for a special use permit, with dog breeding. Obviously, there's been some additional times where canines have been bred out of this area or this address. But I want to believe it was the end result of either the dog control officer had stopped, correct me if I'm wrong. And it was noted that someone said, or we came upon finding out that that the fourth dog was not, we had, done with him because it was, at the time, correct me if I'm wrong, the dog warden literally said you're gonna have to go to the town and get a breeding permit or a kennel permit. I can't remember which one it was.
I think it's a kennel, but you guys don't, we don't do kenneling permits anymore. That's why we talked about special use.
Right. So that being said, and aware that you had a dog that was, I don't know if it was pregnant at the time, but the idea was to have that extra dog so you could breed it.
Mhm.
So based on that premise, you came to us back and forth between April, May, and June. Okay. Since that time, other things have come about that we weren't aware of, that there was previous breeding done.
Mhm.
Okay, over the course of years. And this was just kind of a culmination of you wanted to do this, and we asked you how many times you were gonna breed, okay? And you said maybe at least a couple more times. Once again, this was all propagated because you were sent to the town, okay, to get a breeding permit or a kenneling permit. Looking at the, definition of a kennel, it goes anywhere from a doghouse, okay, to a chain link enclosure. It's a place where the animal is housed. That being said, okay, at this time, I'm gonna close the public information session on it. We're gonna have some general discussion. Okay, with board members and, with the attorney. Okay. So the public portion of this is gonna be closed, and we're gonna discuss it here amongst ourselves with transparency. Okay, so, JP, I don't think there's a concern that involves you at all.
No engineering.
Pete, I can go back to May 3rd. Sir, based on this application, we had some discussion. Okay, in this district, kennels aren't allowed. Okay, I believe you might have gone to zoning. Stop there first.
My husband did all this, I don't know. He's taken all the steps, but he's stuck at work.
All right, was this brought up in zoning at all? Or it just come to us, right? Like I had just said, kennels are not permitted in home occupations. Unless we were to include it as a light thing that has been done in this type of area or person. So to take,
There are home occupations that are permitted in this zoning district. And under the home occupation law,
right,
there is a use, a category of use that essentially says if it's something similar to one of the other ones on the list that are permitted expressly as home occupations, you have it within your authority to make the finding it's similar enough to be a home occupation, therefore we should discussion.
okay. And if I remember right in the conversations we had, the original ones we talked about, babysitting isn't that much different from puppy sitting. Am I correct? The board voted yes. That being said, we decided, we talked to the applicant, that we were gonna have a public hearing. As a result, to see what public comments might be, and what areas of expertise do we have the right to regulate this, which as a home occupation or a special use permit, we have some inspection criteria. And at the end of that discussion is when it became obvious that we needed to have a public hearing. Cheryl, I know, it made a comment that if she was willing to go to the house and take a look and see what the, I don't want to say boarding facility, but
Yeah, no.
a small kennel facility, just want to bring this all out. So this has had a 3 or 4 months manifestation. In the meantime, and as of today, we had some concerns brought to us. Well, previous work. The fact that maybe some of the dogs or animals were left unattended for a while without any direction. That's all third-party hearsay. Concerns about a small neighborhood, and is it appropriate to have this type of home occupation? Probably has some relevance and some merit, okay? Where something like this would be better suited in a rural, low density area. And what have you. Meanwhile, you're in a predicament of having 4 dogs and you're about to have more. There's regulations within the town for age of dogs at 6 months become an adult. Okay. So if you were to have a litter of puppies, you might not be just over by 1, you might be over for 2 or 3. And at that part in time, when we look at what the town code speaks to having to go to a court hearing and then being charged, okay, with having to pay a fine. This all originated with the animal control officer. We really don't have the ability to grant this is approval as a home occupation unless there's something that we're missing here. With the public hearing and the questions that have been raised, okay. I don't know, is it leaving it open to both clients, other members of the town board? What's the further discussion? We'd have to have a finding if it was to become a home occupation, and there would be some very severe requirements. Concerns me? Other than what been brought to our attention?
That's the core issue.
Okay. Cheryl.
Review everything.
Spent some time looking through the code and looking at definitions. Cheryl and I, we spent almost a whole morning going through trying to figure out which pigeonhole might be appropriate. This isn't taken lightly. To a certain extent, all the information that you needed to have to come to this point probably wasn't available. Okay. Whether it be a yes or no information. Whether approving it is, if we had any complaints about noise, barking, or any of that stuff that's substantiated.
I didn't have anything to do with that.
Okay. As I know, the dog warden's been involved a couple times. I also know that Monroe County sheriffs have been involved.
Oh, yeah, and our dogs were in the front yard and we were outside with them the entire time. Our dogs had their training collars on, the cops came to our house, didn't bark once.
That information is stuff that we would like to have to see where progression of what we're seeing with last minute conversations. And the points made by both people that spoke are appropriate. Yes. So, Steve.
Well,
Be honest, no Bible test.
all right, couple things. Because there's only five, would it be a 3 or 5 or a 4 for approval?
I have no idea what you're saying.
It's both. There's only 5 members up here right now.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I thought we were talking about the number of dogs.
No.
So why can't everyone vote?
No, I'm saying we only have 5 up here. Would it take 3 of 5 or 4 based on the requirement of 7?
4. You look at the board as fully constituted.
Right,
which would
that's
be
what I
7.
thought.
Yes.
When you talk about comments, and this is, I don't mean to hit on Eric, but you cannot speak for anybody else. What you have as you're a person has their concern, but what your supposed neighbors say, or, you know, somebody else says, hearsay.
Fair enough, that's fair.
I've been hammered by that because I'm, you know, my job. I mean, I would think it would be important for Dave Maynard to be here. He has not commented. We've got, you know, somebody said that she didn't take care of the animals. There's no proof for that. We cannot use that against her. Never heard anything bad about what they've done, you know what I mean? And, I think a special use permit can be rescinded at any point if they fail to meet any of the requirements. I think you could put a limit on the number of times. And I also think that if 6 months doesn't serve a purpose, they have puppies and keep them 6 months. That's not the whole point. So I don't see why she would become illegal in that aspect. I believe their whole gig would be to have the puppies and send them. You know what I mean? So that part doesn't bother me. You know, I believe that, you know, having the 4 dogs, if there's no real complaint to it, you know what I mean? Got somebody across the street with the dog barks 24/7. You know? If that thing ever got off the chain, it would kill me or I'd have to kill it. But this is what it is, you know, it's a small neighborhood, like you said. There's dog, everybody with dogs. You know, I mean, I got one too, only barks at me. Pretty good.
I guess my concern is, where do you draw the line on home occupation with animals in a residential neighborhood? I mean, is it, there's gonna be dogs and cats that we limit it to, or does it go next level? Does it go to pet pigs and snakes and whatever, other little miniature animal that wants to be bred and sold? So, I don't know, it's like, one of the persons there said that, is this set a precedent? I mean, if we allow one, and how many can we allow in a neighborhood, Keith? Can we allow half a dozen in a neighborhood, or of this type of business, or is it limited to one per residential neighborhood?
If property is zoned for it, there's no cap. We don't have that.
Mm.
Some towns do that for certain things.
Mhm. I don't know if this is such a. I know the neighbors, so they certainly wouldn't want to have half a dozen dog breeding operations within a residential neighborhood. Where do we draw the line? We say, okay, we allow one, but we're not going beyond. Somebody else comes in and says, boy, I'd like to do this too. What do we do now?
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. That's my comment.
They pretty much answered with, my question was gonna be the same thing. But we stopped.
I'm going back and forth with this. I think that, the idea of the special use permit, the year. You know, so. But, around four, and here in the five, they ended up being six. And then, if you had a special use permit, 1 year, 3 years in the permit. This is the way this was coming about. And it's not funny, it's just. One of the reasons why I didn't shut the door on the whole hearing. Okay, was touched upon by Steve here. Okay, and I had mentioned it to Cheryl today. We need to have the animal control officer present, and we need to have some information from him. And in the meantime, it's hard to keep pushing you folks back from the decision, but it's part of your decision's already been made. Okay. The concern originally was having one dog more than what you should. And having that dog appropriately licensed by Ag and Markets to show that it's had, you know, veterinary shots and everything else, and it's not a danger to other animals. Number two is not violating any of the dog ordinances with the dam. Okay. 4, animal control, it's on the record in the books. So we need to know what the findings were by law enforcement, including the dog control officer. And once we have that, should we have a continuance of the public hearing? Consider some other time. Another time, we can table it and we don't have to wait a month. We can have a meeting as soon as we have the information.
The applicant also has the right to be heard by a court board.
That's right.
What I say about this is the hard thing, it's gotta be hard on her, and that was the fact that they were doing this. And they didn't know there was any problem with it. You know what I mean? It's been going on, there's not been an issue with it. And then because it now became an issue, they didn't know they were illegal doing what they were doing. It's not an excuse, but it's a reality.
Well, I would hope that was a case of the one played. I'm pretty sure that it was just having people have litters when they live out in the country, but not in subdivision. Okay. Sometimes you have a favorite dog and things happen. So I guess I'd like to have a motion to table this for more information. Information that can be gleaned within 2 weeks.
I'll make a motion to table the application and the public hearing until we can reconvene.
Just to clarify there, unless we're going to table to a particular date, like the next monthly meeting.
Yeah.
If you reschedule it sometime in between, it'll have to be a special meeting, that will have to be noticed.
You know, I hate to punish the applicant
They realize they weren't doing the right thing, they don't make it right. So I think that we should have a date, to
I was just looking at the calendar.
And I won't be here for the August meeting, so then we wouldn't have to board it.
Well, I'm thinking within the next couple of weeks before the 18th, right? Well, yeah, how long to notice? Try to do it
Actually, 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
2 weeks notice.
So it'll be 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
Which is already-
They would do the 27th, 27th. Everybody that's here tonight be able to be here on 27th. Well, then, no, and a decision will be made whether it becomes a recommendation or we dismiss it. Well, I'd also like the
I did contact
information.
him, he is out
Is that
of town.
okay?
I did contact him.
I would like the information from him to us ahead of time, as well as Montana Insurance. Right. Because it might end up back in this lap, no matter what.
I amend the motion to table the application until the 27th.
Steve Law.
Yeah.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Bruce Fire,
Yes,
Ed Nelson.
Yes.
Steve Henry.
Yes.
okay. Very good. That portion of this meeting is, once again,
See you next month.
well,
No, the end of the month.
still this month.
Okay.
27th.
2 weeks.
All right, thanks, guys.
Mhm.
All right, next item on the agenda is a subdivision property split. E and E Omega Properties, 121.
Walker Lake Interior. Sir, Walker Lake Interior Road.
Right.
It's, properties on the west side of Walker Lake Interior Road, right at the Parkway. People familiar with that area, there's a fairly old house with some outbuildings on a lot that's being currently farmed. It's another one of Gene Dollard's properties. E and E is, his daughter, Elizabeth, is being there. I'm representing them from Oregon, so they're not here tonight, but, their goal is just to separate that house about 2.5 acres from the rest of the farm. Which you've probably seen a couple times this year. Probably see a couple more.
There's probably a few more properties.
Well, I know the girls really want to keep the farm. And I know that really lines up with, master plan of the town, so we kind of get to see that. I did get comments from JP. One of them was the septic system for the house. I petitioned the health department, found out that it's immediately west of the house in the back. So
JP, you have notes, right? There was on notes.
yeah, I just got to put site data notes on there.
Yeah.
With zone point setbacks. Which is why it's funky shape, because I walked around with the huge for me. As it turns out, well, it means so.
How many acres is all this?
Total of 50, a little over 50 acres in total.
What thing going up there, are they required them to tie into that?
Technically, they're not in the district. The district is, was paid for through the Ready Grant that was to address the lakeshore flood, impact of the failing septic system. We are composing, a code update that allows connection into the force main. But it's not a mandatory requirement.
I know there's possibly.
And I think for new subdivisions, the health department may have to say something to the effect that if there is public sewer, they'll be rather than building septic on the sewer.
Yeah, there's two things, it's part of the Penn State health standard. Okay, one is the proximity, and the other is the age of the existing, not how it works or anything else like that, the actual age of the system.
But, and it is unusual to reinforce me by a lot of actually where we see. But at this point, it's not required of the county, it's in existing conditions.
Okay, Keith.
I have no particular concerns with this.
Well, I just, my third note, that I had in my review letter, your zoning book has a table of all the zones with setbacks and area requirements. And also each section, like RBL, RL, et cetera, are listed with the area requirements and setbacks. There is a discrepancy in that between the table and the written code. It looks like the table wasn't updated when the RBL went down to 2 acres. The table still shows 5 acres. It's just something the town will have to correct. It just, like, I'm telling you this. Update or remove that.
But I know they're keeping track of something to do those, right? Okay, you need a public hearing on this or no?
Yes.
Need a motion from somebody or?
Motion then for, public hearing for E&E Omega Properties, LLC, 121 Walker Lake, Ontario Road for August 3rd.
Full votes, please, Sean.
Steve Law.
Yeah.
Dave Martin.
Yes.
Rich Slider.
Yes.
Ed Nelson.
Yes.
Steve King.
Yes.
One other quick question. Keith, does this need a Monroe County PRC?
I defer to Cheryl.
Yes, I think it does.
Because it's on the state road.
No, according to the letter that she sent me, it was within a quarter mile of Lake Shore. And they supersede whatever the town wants to do. So I'm just verifying it because that's my first step tomorrow, is getting online and making that out. Public hearing. Any comments from the TRC?
I'm sorry,
It's subdivision.
I didn't hear the whole.
Subdividing.
Is that really within a quarter mile?
Well, Parkway's right there.
Well, you're talking from the parkway or from the lake?
Right. It's sure it's within a quarter mile.
I'm of the school of thought that says referring. When in doubt, referring.
I'll do it. Not a big deal. Just want to make sure that it's not something that we have to do. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is for Michael Rivera at 1800 Normal Lake Road. Application for commercial sketch plan to operate a retail place.
Hello, everybody. I want to open a toy store. Do you have any questions?
Now, is this for ordering points? You're gonna have them stocked, you're gonna have,
Oh, no, it's to be the physical location.
so it's not like Toys R Us.
It would be a smaller group.
the nature of the business is selling toys and hobbies for children and adults. This is not gonna be an adult toy store.
Yeah, that language is weird, yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
acknowledging the idea that adults are also collecting toys from their childhood. This guy's not,
I just wanna make sure it's not a pet way of,
No.
sneaking something in here.
this will be a family-friendly store.
Do you specialize in antique toys or hobby toys, building?
Probably starting, I mean, there'll be some nostalgia type stuff, probably starting from the eighties and on from there. But we'll see, also, you know, as we learn, like who's coming to the store and who's appreciating the store. I mean, that'll also help guide the direction of that.
So
So,
we buying it done?
fine, not plan, just the retail side, I'm not planning on buying and selling used things. At least that's not the plan.
Any engineering concerns?
No, we've looked at a lot of uses in these annex parts of the tops plaza there. It was always designed to have, you know, parking all we need and be there. This doesn't sound like it'll be a significant traffic change. So really, no engineering issues.
Now, is this on the northern section of it?
If you're looking at tops, it's immediately to the left.
That's where the head shop was.
That's on the-
Is that on there? Okay, then the appliance.
Yes.
Yeah. it's fine.
That's where the dollar store was.
That seems to be the majority of things, I've heard different things, but that seems to be.
Keith,
I have no concerns.
I didn't know concerns. I thought I had talked at length about this endeavor to do that to bring it online.
so you meant by adults, they bring toys, bring the youngsters, toys, so
There's definitely part of it.
is this a franchise?
Brand new,
Brand new,
start.
all you?
Yep.
This be your sole Devin?
What's that?
Would be your only job? Or
Yes. I'll be focusing on
I'm grateful to see another empty space, maybe, putting on, I would hope you're successful.
I was excited, the space itself seems just like perfectly suited for this. I was pretty excited.
Any work you've been in before, or?
Retail for sure, yeah.
Right.
I worked at, Blockbuster for over a decade. I was a store manager. It's not my fault. I really didn't.
What's the type of films you were selling? Yeah, we're like, do we need a public hearing on this, Pete?
It actually depends on you. Do we want the site plan or not?
The site plan is a good change.
Because probably have that on file, don't you, Cheryl, for that plaza?
The site plan was designed.
About the empty space, yes. Yes.
I would prefer to say fairly limited site plan because no changes. being made. We've seen this plaza a few times.
Other than your other question, anything else? Well, this is a sketch plan, with schedule and approval. Online for,
Well, I guess it looks like both today. It looks like a sketch plan and a site plan application kind of run together. And as I indicated in my notes, as a site plan, it's inadequate. But if you accept the existing site plan for the plaza, then that this change of use will impact that such that you need a revised site plan, then what's the point of asking them to provide something you don't really want to see?
The only real concerns are code compliance.
Which are ongoing concerns. So,
Right. So we take action tonight.
yes.
Okay. Speaker,
Type 2.
someone want to provide us with a finding for speaker?
I'll make a motion for the application of Michael Rivera, 1800 Lake Road for Castle Toys to be a type 2 under sequence.
Second.
Steve Law.
Yeah.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Rich Slider,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Vickers.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the commercial plan for Michael Rivera, 1800 Lake Road. Seeking a commercial plan to operate a retail grocery store named Toy Castle. To be located north end of existing Cotton Plaza. This is in CBD zoning district, tax account 021.03-3-23.1. We have a letter of intent, commercial sketch plan, commercial site plan application, description of purpose, proposed rendering of outside wall mounted sign, which we can approve, proposed rendering of floor implementation.
Steve Law.
Yes.
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Rich Slider,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Vickers.
Yes.
Look, thank you. What, did you guys put?
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the conservation order development application.
Good evening, guys. Do you want me to hang this up
Here,
here?
we can hang it up here for the same.
All right. I also brought a stand just in case. Yeah, a little bit too heavy. Let me set up the stand real quick.
It'll rest on the bottom of the board, the left, rest on the bottom, the left. There you go, then flip it.
Yeah, it's the board's a bit too thick for it.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Well, we got a cork board next to it. If you want to put it up there.
I brought a stand I could just set up real quick for it. Where would you like this to be set up? So everyone can see it, or for,
wherever, alongside your podium, yeah.
You can put it so they can look at it. We've all got our own copies.
Why don't you turn it so the audience can see it, and we have maps here.
all right. Is that visible for everybody? Awesome. Good evening, everybody. My name is Lon Watts. I'm here on behalf of Pastor Associates and our client at 17 Summer Haven Drive. And we're here today to present a proposed pool reconstruction project.
The project includes the installation of under drain around the pool exterior and the patio, which will be connected to a proposed sump slash effluent pump. And this will connect over to an existing 2-inch storm drain line that discharges at Lake Ontario. And we also have a little bit of a change, a little bit of a revision from the original plan. We wanted to include at the bottom right corner is drainage of the catch basin that's to the south. We wanted to connect this catch basin to the existing 2-inch line as well. And the catch basin has a existing 6-inch PVC line that also discharges at the lake already. And I brought additional copies of this plan set if you guys want to have some 11x17s for it. But it is a relatively straightforward project. The site, our clients recently purchased it, has had a lot of flooding. And I have pictures that I can show of the existing site under some conditions that it has here. So it is relatively time sensitive for our clients. They've experienced flooding at the garage and at the house. Water levels have reached that high, so the addition of stormwater is to help control any potential chance of flooding. And now I would like to open up to the board for any comments or questions.
Okay, is your existing pool in there?
Yes, so the existing pool is in this image here. It's an existing pool. The reconstruction is just going to be, there's not going to be an increase of any impervious area. It's just going to be as is.
You're raising it up at all?
No. Any elevations are to remain the same for it.
So you're basically reconstructing it for drainage.
Yes, exactly.
Was the pool flooded then?
The pool has flooded, just due to its existing, there's a old sump pump at the northeastern corner of the pool, but it has not been functioning, so we're essentially doing a replacement of that with a higher grade, pump.
The other two pictures is that in the house or the garage or?
So both of these pictures are of the garage. This picture in the center is a trench drain that's there. This trench drain connects to a sump pump as well that's on that 2-inch line. And that's the interior of the garage on that picture on the far right. So our hope is to alleviate any sort of drainage issues that it has with these additional pumps.
JP.
I guess my one question was, since you are gonna be, are you rebuilding the pool or just adding the drainage? I was under the impression the pool was being rebuilt.
No.
Just the drainage.
The drain.
Because I was asking.
We just have to replace the concrete around the patio.
Yeah, so the pad itself is going to be deconstructed, and then we'll install the utilities at the pool
Oh.
itself.
But you're not changing up.
No.
Because my question was, if you were, why not pick it up, grade it? That makes,
Yeah, we don't want to add or remove any sort of like fill.
right. So the only other question was, to make sure that backwash and chlorinated water isn't discharged. I'm sure that's probably a code anyhow, but with the conservation development.
I believe it was built, yeah, I believe it was built in the 60s, around the original construction of the property. When they moved it, the house was used to be.
Well, they're all done now, I just have to
in the
take your name.
60s.
Oh, there, I lost the phone. Oh, okay, perfect.
What is going on?
Oh, okay, perfect.
Can we close the door, please?
Yeah, I got the letter, because I don't know if I was on there.
Okay.
No, all right.
Is there someone who function tonight?
my continued sports outside. I will say that Janine Platt, the chairperson for the conservation board, has been out to visit the site and no concerns. You will go into it. Shouldn't be here.
I have no concerns. It's a type 2 action.
Where on that map, where's the existing house across the street?
Yes, the existing house is across the Blacktop Street.
Just for grins, what's the elevation of that foundation?
Of the garage or the house?
The house?
I apologize, I don't have it off the top of my head. I believe that the elevation at the house is around 249.5.
Irregular. Right over here. Yeah. This is a road, this is the road right there. It's outside of the, over here, it's over here. Is this another house or another building over on this property here?
On the east side?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe that is there's another house and then they have their own garage back there.
Well, I would think for the drawings, concerns for the drawings, see if you can correct me. Neighboring property addresses and there's elevations here, but they're just sky elevations. And the water's all going there to be pumped through a 2-inch line. You said 2-inch force sump pump lines. Is that on their property that you're dealing with, or is it part of the property next door?
So
Is it a drainage easement or something?
there is no existing drainage easement, but these two lines have been there, crossing both properties, beginning both the 6-inch and the 2-inch line. Have just been there since, I want to say, close to the original construction of this house. So it's just been a very loose agreement between the old owner of the house, Mr. Satterwhite, and the neighbor on the east side.
Is it daylight? Up by the top of the bank someplace?
Yes, so they both the 6-inch and the 2-inch daylight into very large, like dolomite, like rock areas.
So the drainage for this pool project and everything is all gonna be contained in the property that you're going forward.
The
It
two,
just doesn't show which is what. We got a garage on the other side or,
Would it help to show you the actual pictures of the house?
well, your house is across the street.
Right, yeah,
Okay, but down here, is this a cottage next door?
yes.
It's a cottage, yes,
Mhm.
3-seater.
So there
It's
is,
right next to the house.
so there is a picture someplace showing the overhead. So right here. The pool project here, the water's going, the storm water's going out there. These two. Okay, this one and this one, are they homes, cottages, barns, garages?
I would not be able to tell you that at the moment what those two buildings on that property are.
Can we approach?
Can I approach?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if I
So these are sheds. This is a garage, you know.
The other ones are garage.
Yeah, it's a garage and then that's like a shed. behind it.
You know what the address is?
It's a state, it's part of this property.
16 something.
There's nobody living there.
No, it's just, he just has a cottage, he doesn't stay there.
Well,
Yeah, he just makes
just comes down
Right.
next to the water.
The reason why I asked the information, so this water, any of the water that's going this way is being intercepted.
Correct.
Okay, and then being pumped underground to a stand up or whatever, and they're in a clean out point, you gotta clean. Right?
Yes, that's on the end of the 6-inch line there. Exactly now. Which is beneath the dolomite rocks and stuff.
This is a 6-inch line.
Yes. So this is the 6-inch line and then this is the 2-inch line.
Those are things we like, you know, the things that properties, and properties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
JP, get a chance to digest this.
Yeah, you know, they're basically rebuilding what they had to a better system. So I just saw it as a rebuild to improve their flooding condition. There's no real change on the discharge points or anything.
Do they need any other permits?
Yeah.
Don't see it.
Just being looked at, you know, interview. And of course, they're doing.
Steve?
Well, concern just, it does say it needs the other CCD permit. on the picture.
Yes, it was.
Here,
Yes.
but CCD permit.
Conservation order, that's on the front.
Well, no, they're not changing anything that affects anybody else, other than making the drain better with what already there.
Alright, do we need a secret for this, for the approval of conservation order? Type two. You wanna make it binding? The secret?
Make a motion here for for Philip Pitts, 17 Summer Haven Drive, for the type 2 negative deck under CEQA. Type 2, can I say?
Type 2.
Yeah.
Steve Law,
Yeah,
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Bruce Snyder,
Yes.
and Nelson.
Yes.
Steve Hickman.
Okay, for Philip Pitts again, 17 Summer Haven Drive, your conservation corridor development permit. To include the construction of an existing in-ground pool and associated concrete deck with the installation of stormwater under drain that shall connect to an existing drain line. And he's gonna replace also the sump pumps, correct?
Correct.
Mhm. And this is in, within 100 feet from Lake Ontario. It's in the SR zoning district, LWRP, tax account 008.14-1-3. Question?
Steve Law,
yeah,
Dave Martin,
Yes.
Bruce Snyder,
Yes.
Ed Nelson,
Yes.
Steve Hickman.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look this down.
Okay, any words of wisdom from the various departments represented here today? Town board, zoning, other than what you already have.
We anticipate going to our next town board meeting to set a public hearing date for the new solar. Their next town board meeting will set the date.
For solar.
And redo it a few times.
Are you doing the battery storage one at the same time?
No.
It just seems that more often than not, we're seeing applications with solar and with battery storage. And I'm seeing new applications come in other places.
Okay.
From what I read into what you provided, it really took a while to make sure that you cross the Ts on every individual zoning district as well as what was itemized in the farmland preservation. Really, that's kind of a hard task.
Well, all together, about 10 hours, I think, all the different meetings.
Very good.
And it got legs under it, or is
It's
this,
just a couple of tweaks still gotta get done before we meet for the meeting on Monday, before we do public thing.
JP, federal and local wetlands. Has there been a court injunction or something about, I'm hearing this stuff and I can hear someone standing there and reading this to us when we have most of our own local regulations and weapons. What does it mean for us?
Well, the only thing that's really changed that I'm aware of is, I think it was maybe in January, the DEC came out with what they were calling adding on jurisdictional determination areas onto the wetlands.
Did we see anything about sizing?
Of the wetlands?
Yeah.
No, I've not.
Are they gonna do the lily pad only, or are they gonna?
Well, a state wetland is minimum of, I can't remember the acre, but they're already a minimum size considered state. But they did have these jurisdictional determination areas. They used to use just a 200-foot buffer around any wetland that was called a check zone. Well, now they've brought in this jurisdictional determination area, but that confused everybody worse than just having a check zone. So I'm hearing they're backing off on that. The new mapping that shows those jurisdictional.
Doesn't a new mapping an upgrade of 95?
Yeah. It was, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so someone comes in here with a project and there's a wetland that is now declared we have jurisdiction over it, being the state.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we turn a blind eye to that, or do we make another organization? Tell us what we gotta do.
Generally, the jurisdictional determination area was the developer's engineer would generally have to make the application to the state. Would say, do we need to do anything on this? Do we need to do a wetland delineation on this area? That seems to be backing off, and they're using the regular boundaries as they always have. As far as the town's concerned, you have your conservation overlay district maps out the state and federal wetlands as they were, whenever that map was. And it's supposed to be updated every 5 years, but I know it's never been updated since I've been around here since
Well,
92.
we always banked on the LWRP, but.
Well, it's covered under conservation development. But those boundaries don't necessarily match the state federal wetlands envelope on your map.
So are
Right.
you becoming a salesman for MRB group to?
So no, I mean, we've talked about this before. The way your conservation development overlay permit describes it, it says it's this far from Sandy Creek, this far from Yankee Creek, this far from the lake, this far from mapped wetlands on our conservation overlay district. If it were me, I would just scratch that verbiage and say, as illustrated on state and federal wetlands. Why reinvent something that's already?
Then what footage would you use?
Well, that's.
I have a question. If you had, my house is in the 200-foot buffer zone.
Yeah,
And
right.
my barn almost falls in the 100-foot buffer zone, and I'm 15 foot higher than the creek.
Right. Right, so that's just, I think, gotta be a case by case determination.
We could take that out of it by elevation. Right?
Not very easy.
Not the way the way the conservation overlay district is.
Floodplain.
Floodplain you can. The wetland, the way your conservation overlay district lost.
The DEC held me to the 100 zone.
Yeah,
For the better management.
and then the town has their own overlay. So,
Well, if there's some verbiage changes and stuff we have to do, somehow that needs to be outlined for us,
yeah,
language wise and.
yeah, I guess the best thing would be see what's works and what doesn't work in your conservation board. To modify that piece of the code. But the mapping, again, I wouldn't reinvent the wheel. There's already state, federal mapping you could just reference as shown in the state and federal law.
Okay. You're gonna be keeper of the gate and another. Okay, thanks, you'll be like, "Hey, you know, you need to ride in on your white horse and go, wait a minute."
Sometimes you do, sometimes you
Anything else from anybody? Somebody wants to be, anymore? What's that? I thought you guys knew that.
There's a soccer game though.
Yeah, there is, isn't there?
You want
Yeah.
big mountain,
Also, yes.
your spider. I don't see it.
Okay. All right.
Go USA.